Hi, and welcome back to I Was Thinking. I'm Nafis.
And I am Sierra.
Okay. I guess that's close to Simone.
It relates to what we're talking about.
It does. It does. Happy holidays, guys. I think this will come out around that time, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a holiday movie, so I figured it'd be appropriate to release it during the holidays, but just like you guys know, we always pre-record. I'm sorry in advance if I sound tired or if I stumble. It's early. I worked last night and I go back to work after this, so trying to make that money, never stop working. No, I
Yay.
hate it. I hate capitalism. Anyway, how are you, Nafis?
I'm doing okay. We're on break. How are you?
I'm good. I wish I was on break, but thankfully I was able to actually take off. So around the time we're recording this, it's Thanksgiving. I'm going to go up to Charlotte, North Carolina to go see my brother for Thanksgiving. So, yeah.
That's good.
But I'm pretty sure I'll be working Christmas.
So it's just family then this time?
Yeah, it's just me and my dad going up.
Gotcha. That's good.
Yeah. What about you? I see you guys got the whole week off now. That's not fair.
We've always had the whole week off.
What? When I went to school, I went Monday, Tuesday, and then the rest of the week.
I have never gone to school where Thanksgiving was never a week off. My whole life, I've always had a week.
Where are you going to school?
Up north, and then in some counties they do that.
No, I've always had to go. There's never where we got a full week
Really?
off. It was always at least we had to go to school Monday and Tuesday, which was pointless because it's not like the teachers wanted to give us anything and we didn't want to work.
Yeah.
And most kids sometimes didn't show up if their family was traveling, but they still had school at least Monday, Tuesday, and they were off Wednesday until the next Monday.
No, I'm just wait, am I going through a memory lapse? But no.
I don't know, because
every year we've always had a full week off.
You always tell me things that I didn't experience and it's not fair to me, so it's whatever. I guess just different things happen to different people depending where you live.
Which is funny because you're a few counties over anyway, and it's such a difference.
It's a huge difference. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
They just be doing whatever they want to do.
But they were actually thinking of having school during Monday and Tuesday for hurricane makeup days. But because the timeline was just too close, they decided to just give the whole week off. But they're going to take it off from spring break, I'm sure. So
that's not fair though for spring break.
Well, I mean, spring break is part of the hurricane makeup day, allotted time. So
why don't they just do your teacher, I don't know what they call it now, your teacher duty days or whatever. Why don't they just use those? They
teacher
used to do
work
that
days,
when I went to school.
They already did one in October. Our Wednesdays are no longer short. And then I think they took one off from...
No, I didn't know they took away your early release days.
Yeah, so they took away the Wednesdays, but that makes up for 2 days, and then you still have another day left. So for now, this is where we're at. Oh, and we no longer have President's Day off too, so...
I don't think we ever had... You know what? I'm gonna stop talking. I've been out of school for so long. Things are different. I am old now. Whatever. I accept it. Sometimes I want to accept it, but I guess I have to.
Yeah. Yeah, it just depends on the county you're in, really, and what they think are important dates to take off. So it is what it is.
Well, before we actually get into our movie, we actually saw each other in person for the first time in a while. A year.
Has it been? Yeah, it's been a year. Oh my gosh.
It was last year when we went karaoke for my birthday.
Like I was telling you, we're just meant to meet up on birthdays.
I guess. Because it was your birthday when we met up, but we went to a Korean festival at the church that we used to take classes at before COVID. So, yeah.
That was pretty fun, though.
It was.
It was a good turnout.
It was. I'm glad they're getting bigger by the year. So,
the
setup was different. The stage was bigger for, the little contest they do. It was hot as hell, though. I wasn't expecting it to be so sunny. And the way they moved it, but at least we had a building, the church building, kind of blocking the sun last time, even though it was 3 years ago in global warming.
This time we were right underneath the sun.
Right under the sun. When I got home, I tell you, I took a shower, I got in my bed, and I was in and out of consciousness for at least 3 hours.
Really?
And fully wake up till 9 because I had to go take out Bella.
No, I was just No, I was like tired. Like when I came back, like I felt dehydrated and drained and everything.
Yeah.
Like literally. Oh, but it was good though. It was nice seeing everybody.
Yeah, I can't wait for, well, everyone except for Macy. But we saw each
Oh
other and
yeah,
we
that's
saw
true.
Brianna.
Yeah. It would have been a little difficult for Macy to come though.
Yeah, and especially for something like that, there's no point of her driving, like, I think she's like 6 hours away from Orlando?
Wow, yeah.
Not, no,
About
actually,
yeah.
yeah.
Wouldn't it be a little bit longer? 6
Girl, I don't know. People
I don't
forget this state is so
it's
long.
yeah. Long.
It is. It's long.
And
Florida is
wide too.
long.
It's kinda big. It's a big state.
So, but anyway,
Yeah. So we are talking about a movie today, and this was picked by Simone.
it was.
Why'd you pick it?
Why'd I pick it? Well, first, we'll say what the movie is. It's called Falling for Christmas. That just came out on Netflix, starring Lindsey Lohan. First of all, I just wanted to do a holiday movie because I feel like we done a holiday movie at all before?
No, we've done Halloween movies, but that wasn't working out, so we decided to do
That doesn't count because
holiday movie.
it was never posted because of
Yeah.
audio technical difficulties. That's the only episode I was never able to actually post. And then this year, it was just too close. We were never able to do another one. So yeah, hopefully next year we'll actually be able to do a Halloween one.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I picked this because I feel like I've said this before. I'm not really a rom-com person, first of all. So it was a little difficult, like, oh, what movie we should do? And then the feast was like, well, let's pick a classic. I'm like, first of all, I don't know anything about any classics. Classical.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Well, see, you didn't give examples, so that's why I was like, what classics?
And that's the only one I can really think of at the moment. Oh, what's that other one with the big tall dude as the elf? Is it just Elf?
It is Elf. Listen.
Oh.
It's just because I'm not that big of a fan of Will Ferrell. I don't think he's that funny, and I never did. I watched Elf as a kid, and I did find it funny, and then I rewatched it as I was getting older, and I was like, why did I think this was funny? I have my gripe with Will Ferrell. It don't matter. But yeah.
But there was another one too where the father is like Santa Claus, but his family doesn't know. That one was a classic one too.
Isn't it just called Santa Claus?
Forgot the name.
Isn't it just called Santa Claus? With Tim Allen?
I think so.
I like how now we're starting to record, we're thinking of all these classical Christmas movies.
Right? I was just like, a classic movie. Like,
I mean, classical to us. I didn't know how old classical you wanted to go.
Well, I mean, like our childhood classic. Like anything past that, I probably wouldn't even know.
Okay, well, anyway, that maybe next year. But for this
maybe
year,
next year,
we're doing something updated and modern, and that just came out. So
yes.
I just picked this one because I did hear Lindsey Lohan was like making. I guess this is considered her like little comeback movie. And, you know, I like Lindsey Lohan. If you grew up in like the early 2000s, she was one of those child stars and teenage stars. Not to get like a little dark, but I feel like she was also one of those stars, like as she got older, she was just deemed as like crazy. And I always felt bad because I'm like, well, now that we're in a new age, we're like, oh, so the people that we deemed, especially child stars, like crazy, we're just like, you know, finding ways to deal with trauma of like being in Hollywood and all the dark stuff in Hollywood that we don't even know about, that I won't get into because that's not what this is about. But I was just like, you know, I want to support. I feel like she deserves this chance. I never really had a problem with Lindsey Lohan, and then watch someone come and tell me she did something problematic. But then again, everyone these days, it don't matter. Anyway, yeah, that was really just my reason.
I saw her. I actually saw the trailer for it like earlier in the month, and I'm like, oh, this looks interesting. But like, there's one thing that kind of bothers me about it, but I'll tell you about it later. It's very minimal, but I guess once you see it, you see it. Yeah. I'll just say right now, I just wish they did her makeup better. Like, that's it.
You know what? I agree with that.
Like, I just wish they had done her makeup a little bit better. But everything else about the movie was kind of cute. But yeah, so when I saw the trailer, I'm like, oh, look, this is very interesting. But it's like, you know, it's going to be a typical, you know, Christmas movie trope. So I wasn't too surprised when I actually did watch it. So
yeah. So that's pretty much the only reason. Just justice for childhood stars, you know? Because, like, with the whole
Right.
Selena Gomez documentary coming out, which I didn't finish watching, but then, like, Jeanette McCurdy's book, like,
Mm-hmm.
I know people will, like, get in their arguments talking about, like, oh, they're, like, rich and famous and they chose this. I kind of see that slightly different when it comes to children. I don't really feel like,
They choose it sometimes. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, because they'll say they want it, but then, like, this is still a job. I think people forget, and that's a lot to put on a child who's like is not fully developed and like their
Yeah.
own thinking and like choice making, and they're just following what authorities are telling them to do. Yeah, again, this is supposed to be a happy, fun episode, so we're not going to get too much into that. But and I feel like I've talked about this for a while because a lot of things have just been coming out. So
Yeah.
anyway, but yeah,
But yeah.
Christmas movies. This is why I don't watch a lot of Christmas movies, especially if you like.
Oh, really? Because of that reason?
No, I'm just talking about because of cheesy. I wasn't talking about the childhood thing. I've moved on.
Oh.
No, it's
Oh,
just because they're
okay.
cheesy and like I don't do cheesy that much. Like sometimes they're cute, and I'm trying to get more into just watch things. Don't think too critically of them. Just enjoy it. But sometimes I
Yeah.
have to laugh at stuff when I know I'm not supposed to be laughing.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let's jump right into it.
I'm just curious also, like, and I maybe that has
Mm-hmm.
to be more research on my end, like how they decide where they want to distribute these type of movies, like what made them choose Netflix and not like Hallmark, because I can honestly see this on like
As a
the
Hallmark
Hallmark,
movie?
yeah, on the
Yeah.
Hallmark channel, because let me tell you, if anyone has like a grandparent like my grandma, when November 1st hits, that channel does not change from November 1st until December 31st. That TV stays on the Hallmark channel.
Yeah. I mean, that's their season, right?
That
So,
is their season. That's where they make most of the money,
yeah.
okay? Which that one girl or lady from Full House really like messed up the bag because she wants to be homophobic. But again,
Wait, what? Well, that's a different
that's a
conversation, but
different conversation for another day. If you know, you know.
I feel like I always know about these different transgressions through you.
That's just because I'm online too much and I really need to stop.
Mm. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get started. So, as we said before, the movie we're talking about is Falling for Christmas. This is Lindsay Lohan's like first project back after a while. She has done like smaller roles, I think, right?
Smaller roles, yeah, but what was
Yeah,
it the last time she was really a lead in something? Do you know? I could
I
research it real
don't.
quick. I feel like maybe at least early 2010s, maybe? Yeah, keep talking while I
Honestly,
look this up.
yeah, I don't remember her in anything recent, but yeah, so this is her first project back in a while, and it is on Netflix. So sorry for those of you that don't have Netflix. Okay.
If you don't know who Lindsay Lohan is, just in case like you're not from America, I mean, you've probably heard of movies like The Parent Trap, the remake of The Parent Trap in the late 90s, Freaky Friday. I always talk about her be fully loaded, and sometimes people don't be remembering that.
And the most famous one, Mean
Mean
Girls.
Girls, You Can't Sit With Us, We Only Wear
Yeah.
Pink on Wednesdays, all the classics. We also could have low kid in Mean Girls
Yeah.
because I feel like that's not really a Christmas movie, but anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she's the main lead in this movie. The main lead, the male main lead is what's his full name?
Oh, and Life Size.
Hmm?
I forgot about Life Size. Um,
Well, that's a while ago, though.
that was 2000 with Tyra Banks.
Yeah, that's a while ago. When did that come out?
Life Size,
Yeah, Life Size.
2000. But Mean Girls came out in 2004.
So was Mean Girls her most recent project?
No, she was in other stuff. Herbie Fully Loaded came out 2005.
I was gonna say I saw her in smaller things, but
Last thing she was listed in was they made a Life Size too. Was she in that?
I have no idea.
Okay, continue. I'm sorry, guys. Like I said, I'm tired, so like my brain is everywhere. Sorry, Nafis.
Okay, so yeah, the main lead in this is Cord Overstreet. So if you guys remember his face, or if you guys don't know who he is, he was also Sam in Glee.
Oh, see, I never watched Glee, so I didn't recognize who he was.
I've seen Glee like the first season, and I'm like, this face is familiar, but I couldn't like put my finger on where I saw him. And like, he's from Glee, but in Glee, he didn't have like a beard or anything like that. It was just his bare face, and he was much more blonde too. So,
What was he like? One of the students, or I'm sure he was probably younger than that too.
yeah, he was one of the students.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so he's from there. So this movie runs like about an hour and a half. And I looked up to see like what people thought of it. Most people gave it a 3.6 out of 5, which is pretty decent.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, but then on Rotten Tomatoes it was around like a 56%, but
if you click on Rotten Tomatoes, because they usually show you like critics, like film critics, that's the rating for film critics. If you look on the audience ratings, it's about a 63%. So that's still not too bad.
Yeah. You know, I was expecting most people to like it just because it had her in it. And like they have been following like her whole story and everything. So
yeah, but like I said earlier, when she was deemed as crazy when she was going through all that, I'm not sure how many people, I don't want to say like not doesn't like her, but I don't know.
I don't know. When I saw the trailer though, I saw a lot of positive comments. I'm like, oh, this is really cute and sweet.
Okay.
So I had a feeling that it would do well. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
But like, yeah, like you were saying, it was giving me like Hallmark style, Lifetime style movies. So if it did end up on there and not Netflix, I would not be surprised. So
right. I don't know if they're, again, I'd have to figure out how that works, because I wouldn't be surprised if they ran it on there. I feel like maybe they get more money for reruns, but I feel like Hallmark also just mostly shows their own original Christmas movies, right? They don't show movies like that were not produced by people from Hallmark, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. But overall, I'm glad she's back. I'm glad she's doing better and she's taking on projects that are helping her get back into the whole like acting scene.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, what was your overall impression before I get into the summary of it? Like, what did you think when you saw it, other than cheesy?
I mean, I really don't know what else other word besides cheesy, but it was a good cheesy. So it wasn't like a cringy cheesy to me.
Initial, before you saw the movie.
Before I saw the movie?
Yeah.
I actually didn't think, I mean, I didn't know, to be honest. Because I'm sure this plot has been done before, right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Should I go ahead and put spoiler warnings now? I need to get better at doing spoiler warnings when we do reviews.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can do a spoiler, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, but the plot isn't really spoiler. You can get that. Anyway, spoiler alert, every time we do TV and movie reviews, just know we are mostly going to talk about the whole project. So if you haven't seen this movie, you can stop this, go watch it on Netflix, and then come back. Or if you don't care about spoilers, then enjoy. But yeah, when I first saw this, I was like, okay, it's a Christmas movie. And then also, it's rated PG, so I should have known better that it wasn't going to be like anything, you know, gory
crazy.
or like any cussing, just family friendly. Anybody could watch it, sit down.
You know, now that I think about it, she could have chosen like anything as her comeback. I'm really glad she chose like a family friendly genre to do it with, you know?
Very smart business move. Now that you said that, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
So, because it's something appropriate to where I said anyone of all ages can watch. You can play it on the background during Christmas when you're like opening up the gifts and stuff. If you celebrate Christmas, we gotta remember not everyone celebrates Christmas.
Yeah.
So but still.
Mm-hmm. My actual initial impression though was like it looked cute, but like I did not want to watch it because I knew it would be like a typical Christmas movie. So when you said, "Hey, let's do this movie," I'm like, okay. Sure.
We have to broaden our movie reviews. Sometimes we'll watch movies we won't like. Sometimes we'll watch movies that are great. Sometimes they'll be rated R. Sometimes they'll be family friendly.
No, but I was going to say, well, the reason I didn't want to watch it was because it was a typical like movie plot.
Mm-hmm.
But I was actually pleasantly surprised, but I'll get into that later though. But yes.
Do you watch a lot of Christmas movies on your own?
Recently, I used to. Recently, I haven't though.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I have these plots, these plot holes, all of it memorized like the back of my hand. So that's why I was like, eh. But again, I was pleasantly surprised.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and get straight into it then.
Mm-hmm. So basically the story starts off with an introduction to Lindsey Lohan. Her name is Sierra here. Her boyfriend Tad, and the dad, which is Mr. Belfort. The boyfriend is kind of narcissistic, but he has his own like arc in the
I like how you
story.
straight up just calls him narcissistic.
But he is though. He's
He
very like
is.
self-absorbed. He's an influencer. That's his job in the movie. So kind of get where that comes from. But he has his own arc, which I kind of like. But anywho, the dad is a hotelier, so he owns a whole bunch of hotels, and he's really prominent in the area. That part kind of gave me like Paris Hilton vibes, like where her dad owns a whole bunch of hotels, and she's like this rich heiress of his business.
Yeah, I guess this one is special because I don't know if it's normal hotels or specifically like ski resorts. I don't know if that
Yeah.
makes a difference or not.
And then we are introduced to Jake. He actually comes to meet Sierra's dad because he wants an investment for his small lodge. So he meets with the dad. They do their own like ski race thing, but eventually he says no. So on his way out, Jake bumps into Sierra and he spills coffee on her, but that's like their initial reaction. They don't really think any of it. They don't remember each other. And then it cuts into the scene where the dad, Mr. Belfort, is meeting Tad for the first time, I guess. And they are having dinner, and he told them that that they should become closer, more like family. But yeah, so that's essentially where we are. He doesn't like Tad. You can tell from his facial expressions.
I wouldn't have liked Tad.
Yeah, but he tolerates her for the sake of his daughter, which you can tell that he really was tolerating him. So eventually the dad had to go for a meeting, or he had to go for a trip. And so in the meantime, Sierra and Tad, they go on their own trip, and they go to a ski place close to the lodge, correct? They don't actually stay at the
So
lodge.
because he's a social. Wait, were you talking about?
Influencer.
Yeah, are you
When
talking
they
about where they're?
first go, yeah.
So she's staying at
Yeah, where they're skiing.
She's staying at her father's actual ski lodge because her father wants her to, I guess, do something in the business. Like she says he made up a position for her because I don't know if she even works. That wasn't said or pointed out. She has a job at
I think the
all.
impression we got is that she has not worked. Yeah.
Okay, so to try to, I guess, help her become, I don't know. He makes it. What was the position called? Do
A
you remember?
participating member of society.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So that's why she's there, so she can see what she'd be, I guess, quote unquote, over like the building and everything. And I think Tad is staying there as well, but they go off to like a isolated random place that Tad said he saw from another ski influencer because he thought it'd be great for his like social media if he went there with Sierra.
For his page.
Yeah. So it was just some random place out in the like woods that they went skiing.
But it was close enough to the lodge where they.
Yes, it was close enough
So
to
anyway,
the lodge.
So they go on their own trip while the father's away on his business trip. And so they go up to the very, very top. It's so funny how like they get there because none of them are like into skiing like that. And so like just their whole process of getting there was funny. But they get to the very top. He proposes
and I was
to
like,
Sierra,
bro,
and she accepts it.
No, because I was like, he's like, we've dated for almost a year. You guys haven't even made it the year yet? Come on.
Right.
I know there's a ton of couples where they're like, oh, well, you know. I'm like, I'm going to need you to know you a little bit longer than that.
Yeah. No, yeah. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, cute. But then when you see the ring, the ring does not fit her finger. So anyway, she says yes. But at that same moment, Jake's family, so it's Jake's mother-in-law and his daughter. So the daughter Ava and his mother-in-law, they go to like some area in town and they put a wish on the Christmas tree. And so that wish was for like a miracle to help with their lodge or whatever. And the miracle is obviously none other than Sierra herself. So this Santa Claus looking guy I don't know what he was supposed to be.
I know. I'm like, why is he so? I guess he was supposed to be Santa Claus.
But yeah, so this Santa Claus looking guy, just like he is like
He creeped me out sometimes.
he did, but he's like the reason why the story kind of kept going, like the plot, I guess you could say. Anyway, so he causes like this big gust of wind to happen, enough so that Sierra and Tad, who were at the top of a mountain hill, were like falling
Oh,
off.
wait, so that's why the avalanche started?
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't know if I said this before the recording, but I was like watching this in and out of work. So sometimes I had to like look at my computer screen from my iPad to do something for work. So I must have missed that. All I saw was like, I remember they were on the thing. He proposed. She's like, oh, the ring's too big. And then something else happened and the gust of wind, to cause like the sort of avalanche. I didn't know it was the creepy guy that caused it, who's supposed to be Santa, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So the daughter Ava puts up her wish on the Christmas tree. They're like, we need a miracle. And he was like, gotcha. And so
I'm on it.
literally,
say no more.
Yeah. So literally at the mountain, even Tad was like, oh my gosh, the weather has changed drastically because it went from like clear skies to like really dark.
Yeah.
And it got so windy to the point where like he tried to save Sierra, but the only thing that came off was the ring.
See, that makes more sense. Okay.
Yeah. So she went tumbling down the mountain and then he just sunk into the snow and then he went tumbling down the opposite way. So
see, and I was surprised by that because I wasn't expecting Kim to also get lost. I thought he was just going to go back to, the hotel, be like, oh, Sierra's missing.
Yeah.
And all that. So I was surprised both of them end up getting lost.
I think that's one of the reasons why I actually liked the movie a little bit better. I'm like, oh, okay, so he's not complete ass. Like he has his own storyline going on. So
or I thought it was going to be one of those cases where like she got lost, but like he wasn't going to tell anyone until the dad came back.
Try to find her on his own.
Yeah, or not even that, just pretend like she went somewhere and like hide it. Because like you said, he's narcissistic. That seems like
that would have been a really jerk move. Like imagine.
Yeah, that seems like something he would have done to me anyway.
Yeah, no, like his initial vibe does come off as that. Yeah, you're right. But yeah, so like that. So that's what happened. So at that same time, Jake is basically giving a tour to some of his guests in the sleigh that they have. And so he's going down like the scenic route and then they just see her unconscious on the side of the road.
Which before that, it was funny because the guy on the sled, like the boyfriend, before they went out, he was like terrified because of the sled is old because, Jake is running out of funds for his lodge. So and everything's old. And he's like, is this sled safe to ride? And the girlfriend's like, don't worry about it, honey. Enjoy the experience.
As a piece of metal comes off.
And then the handle comes off. She's like, oh. And she's like, oh, this is part of the fun. Yeah. This is part of the fun. It's like, okay.
I'm glad she saw it through, though.
Yeah, but that part was funny to me.
But yeah, so they go through their snow ride or their sleigh ride, and she's literally like this. Her snowsuit is like bright pink. So even if they were to just go straight through, there's no way they would have missed her.
There's no way you wouldn't have missed her. You're like, what is that random pink thing among white snow and trees?
Right.
And then the girlfriend's like, is that a dead body?
Was that the girlfriend? That was the boyfriend who said that.
No, I think it was the girlfriend. I could have sworn it was the girlfriend.
I don't know.
They must have both said it.
But anyway, that part was funny because they were just like, what do we do? So Jake goes over. He goes to see. She sees that she's unconscious. So he takes her to the local like clinic. And there we learn that she had like a minor concussion and that she forgot everything prior to the accident. So she doesn't know her name. She doesn't know where she's from, why she was even there, like everything. She forgot everything. So they were going through that whole like scenario of like, okay, where is she supposed to stay? I love how the doctors were like, no, she needs to get back into the swing of things. So she should probably go back to the lodge with you when he offered to take her.
I'm surprised they didn't expect from the clothing she was wearing that she might not be a typical normal person. That kind of shocked me. Yeah. I don't know if that's one of the plot holes because I'm like, if I saw that and I saw the clothing she was wearing, I would have assumed she has like some type of money. So when they're like normal things, I'm like, you guys know what her normal is?
Or they could have just, okay, so when they found her, they found a bag of makeup but they never found an ID because she didn't carry an ID because makeup was more important. Like, you can just look at the brands of makeup and just be like, okay, there are signs.
Maybe her normal's different. What is her normal?
Yeah. And so they eventually decide to go back to the lodge. And I felt like when they got there, everyone was really sweet and everything. But eventually she needed to do something. And I kind of feel like they manipulated her, though,
Oh,
into
for
doing like
sure.
the chores.
Because when him and the grandma abuela was talking, and they're like talking about things because the lodge is going down, of like they can't even afford help, and you saw it in his face when he was sweeping, and he's like, we can't afford help. I found somebody who doesn't know like who she is. So
Free. But to be fair, though, he is giving her like a bed,
yes,
food, and
true,
all
and it's
that.
a good trade-off, but at the same time there was a little manipulation there, as we won't hide that fact.
There was. It's like, yeah, they could have definitely. The other thing is, they would have known she's not normal based off of how she was doing the work. This girl messed everything up. Like, she couldn't do the laundry. She couldn't make a bed. I mean, eventually she learned, but like, that would have helped.
I mean, the first thing the abuela said was like, honey, do you even know how to make a bed? And she's like, I don't think
Yeah.
so. But then that also goes into me, like, I want to know real life how amnesia actually works. Because, you always see, like, films about amnesia, and it's just, like, them just not knowing their identity. But I want to know, like, what it's really like going further into that. I know it's off topic, but that's what I was just kind of thinking watching this film.
Yeah.
Like, how selective is the memory loss or something like that? What affects your brain?
It is selective. Well, from what I know, there's two types. There's types where, like, the first type is like where you cannot remember what happened previous to your incident. And then there's another type where you just cannot make new memories. So the only thing you have is your old memories.
Interesting.
So essentially, like, the storage area for your long-term memories is just disconnected. It's broken. So you can only make short-term memories. Like, after some time, said person will forget like what they did that day or what they did that week. So like, it's really crazy as far as like amnesia is concerned.
Yeah, and I wonder if that goes like slightly into like dementia as well.
That's
Or
different, I
dementia.
think. This
I
is
don't think
more
I'm
of
saying.
like, no, that's more like genetics, environmental, but this is like, I think, strictly from like accidents and things like that.
The human body is weird.
It's so interesting. So interesting. Ay, ay, ay. But yeah, where were we?
We were talking about how Sierra was like, basically they found her, took her back, and then they started making her do a bunch of chores. So they say to help her go back to normal, hopefully something will jog her memory. But it's just, yes.
Okay, yeah. So like at that point, they didn't really know what to call her, and so Ava was like, what do we call you?" So she introduces her to like her stuffed animals, and then one of them is named Sarah. She's like, "Oh, I like Sarah, so I'll go by Sarah." Mind you, that is also the only one with the girl name.
I was just gonna say that's just because that was the only like doll or stuffed animal that had a girl name. I don't remember what the rest of them were.
Yeah. So they decided to go by Sarah. In the meantime, however, Tad had his own thing going on. So he basically was just wandering the forest in that coldness. Like, I just cannot imagine myself going through that. I would have
I
probably
wouldn't.
died on the spot.
How? Oh, exactly.
Frostbite, everything.
I don't know if y'all could tell. I am not a survivor when it comes to the wilderness. I am a
Same.
city person to my core. I was born in the right generation, okay?
Yeah, no, I don't think I could survive in the wild either. Absolutely not. And just to walk around like that, like a stiff, like, it was a lot of snow. A lot of snow.
Because the heat is one thing, but the cold, especially me who is Florida bored, and when it comes like 68, I feel like it's 38. No, I would have died.
I can handle cold because I am from the north, but like that situation, being lost in the woods with no service or anything, no, probably not.
No service, no food.
Yeah, I think no food would probably be what takes me out, honestly.
Well, they say you can survive only like 8 to 10 days without water, but how long can you survive without food?
I think without food, it's like, I'm guesstimating here, but I think without food, it's like 2 to 3 days, and then like without water, it's about a week. Or I could have that backwards.
I think that's backwards because you need water more than you need food. need water more
Yeah, could
to feast your body's
you
made up
do
of
you do?
like 7.
You know what?
You need water more than you need food.
Hold on, let me look this up real quick.
Our body's made
How
of like
long?
70% liquid. Because if your body like starts drying out from the inside, your organs are gonna stop functioning.
Yeah, so without food is 10 days,
Okay.
and then without water, 3 days. Yeah,
Okay, that makes more sense. Like,
yeah, that's crazy. Just 3 days. Oh my God.
it just shows you how long we've been in school, guys, as we discussed earlier. But anyway,
Mm-hmm. No, like after 3 days, you're gonna be like delirious. So like, what's the point of surviving that extra, what, 5 days? Anyway, I'm not out there trying to survive, but
exactly. we're not like those people. What is that? I don't remember what channel it comes on where they be doing that. Have you ever seen Naked and Afraid?
no.
It's about these people, and then like we're getting way off topic. We go on tangent, guys. I'm sorry. Real quick, but it's a show. I don't know if it comes on Animal Planet or is it Lifetime, but it's like these people, they find the people that like say they're like the best at like survival, and it's usually opposite sex, so it's like a man and a woman, and they pair them up and they put them somewhere with like extreme survival skills, and they see if they can survive for like, I don't know if the time limit's like 30 days, but like they're literally
So why is it
naked
called Naked and Afraid?
because they're literally naked.
Oh,
They're naked trying to survive 30 days in the
wait, they're allowed to show this
wilderness.
on TV?
Well, they blur out the parts, but
What's the point of
trying to survive. So like they'll put them in like the Amazon like jungle and be like, okay, survive. You have to find food on your own. You have to make your own shelter, literally for 30 days.
So I have like that's all fine and dandy, but what about the cameramen?
Oh, they're fine. They got their own camp. They got their own food. They will
Oh,
like
okay.
follow them during the day, and then at night they go to their own camp base, and then they give them little like portable cameras so they can film themselves if like things happen at night. And then the camera crew will meet up with them later.
I hope they get paid a lot if they're doing all of that. That's crazy. That's kind of like Bear Grylls or Man versus Wild, like those type of shows. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Tad has his own like story arc going on, and like eventually after wandering for so long, he finds like this little tiny shed-like house. At first though, I thought he was like just imagining things because of like the situation he was in. But no, it actually turns out there's a person there who goes by the name Ralph, and Ralph is like literally his savior, as he says so himself.
Many times, many times.
Yeah, so he sticks it out with Ralph for the remainder of the time. Let's see. But yeah, going back to Sierra. So Sierra and Ava, they start bonding. She learns about Ava's mom and how she passed away and things like that. So
And they never said why, right? They never gave a reason. I'm assuming like all the
I don't
others,
think
it's
they
probably
did.
cancer.
Probably.
God, they love a good cancer story.
Yeah. But yeah, throughout this whole time though, you can tell that like Sierra was like not as confident with like what she's been doing. And then eventually Jake kind of like blows up on her because of like the stress and everything. Um, and so they have like vulnerable moments and then like sweet moments. And then eventually Sarah finds out about the lodge and like how it's in trouble and everything. And so she wants to start helping. And she comes up with like different ways to help. So the main one is the fundraiser. But Jake doesn't really want to get into all of that. He kind of wants to move on. And so they have like their first fight, I guess you could say. Whereas whereas in the meantime, Tad is like experiencing his own situation. So he's eating like packed beans for the first time. He's eating like fish for the first time. Which, by the way, I want to say like Ralph has been a real sport about it because he obviously knew Tad was not normal. So appreciate people like that.
Exactly. He just welcomed them in with open
He
arms.
did. Like he gave him a place to stay, his own clothes and everything. So it was
And
nice.
the only reason they were doing that was because when he was going to take him back into town, I guess his truck wasn't working. So he like wrote a note for anyone to find, like, we're going to be out in the wilderness or something like that to try to get back to town.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so like basically the story just moves on. They have a lot of sweet moments, sweet, cute moments. eventually Sierra's dad comes back from his trip and he wants to like meet his daughter and he's like, "Where's my daughter?" And then like her whole glam squad, quote unquote, was
That is a
like,
terrible glam squad, by the way. Like, how are you going to go 4 days with the person you are in charge of watching and not question where she is? Like,
yeah,
what?
that was the dad's concern as well. And they were like, "But she told us not to disturb her." And he was like, "For 4 days?" So yeah, he goes and he goes to her room and he finds that all her luggage and everything was there. And he's like, "No, there's something up because she never goes anywhere without her luggage." And so that's when like the whole squad, that's when they actually start looking for her. I don't know why I said squad.
I mean, because they're called the glam squad.
Yeah, no, that's when they actually took action, is what I meant to say.
Okay.
And so, like, yeah, so they contact the police, and the police goes to Ralph's place because I guess they were around that area. And the police officer sees the note. They go to the local police station, which somehow Ralph and Tad end up being dragged into. And that is where they meet Mr. Belfort, Sierra's dad. And Sierra's dad is like confused at this point. He's like, why is it only you? And who's this guy? And so Tad was like, oh, she's probably at the hotel. And he's like, she's not at the hotel. She's with you. And that's when they discover that she is still missing. So they continue to look for her. And that's when the other police officer was like, oh, I know where she's at.
Which I was like,
If you knew this whole
that's
time,
what I'm like,
storyline, plot holes.
kind of plot hole, not, but if they never reported she was missing, that not makes sense. But it was just crazy how he all of a sudden knew it was like, what happened for him to know, like, oh, the missing girl was her, and they had no way to ID her when she was in the hospital because, like he said, they ran like fingerprints, and since she's never committed a crime, she's not in the system, and she didn't have any ID. So, how did you know that was her? That didn't make any sense to me.
Hold on, was that the same police officer?
That was the chief. He was the same police
Oh,
officer
yeah?
that was with her when she was in the hospital. So that's why I was like, wait a minute, what?
I think he had a hunch, though. I think he had a hunch, which is what he went off of.
Why didn't he report anything if he knew there was a woman that was found and she didn't have any recollection of? Why wasn't there like a further investigation?
This is not that kind of movie, Simone.
I'm sorry. That's why I don't watch rom-coms, because there's a lot of things where it just logically doesn't make sense.
No, you're right.
So confused.
Like, that went off in my brain too. I was like, why didn't you say something earlier? Like, hello?
I don't know what file a missing persons report, but you knew there was someone that was found and she had no recollection of. I don't know. I guess maybe it just clicked to him when they were saying all that.
Now that I'm thinking about it, another plot hole is like, why did they just leave her be with Jake? Like, they didn't bother coming back and talking to her. They didn't bother following up. Like, it was just...
They didn't take her to the station to, like, take some... I don't know.
There was just no, like, police report filed or anything.
Because the town is so small, and, like, how that one lady, like, their one scene when they're taking toy donations, and that one lady was telling Sierra how, like, Jake is very generous to that town, how he helps out volunteers, helps put money in that town. So I guess they just trusted him, which also isn't best because...
No, that's not my concern. My concern is, like, why was there no follow-up?
Girl, police, anyway. That's all I have to say.
But yeah, like we said, this is not that kind of movie.
I know. My mind goes so dark, but I'm like, so you're just gonna leave her, a woman that has no recollection of who she is, with some stranger, even if he has a family? You know what? Sure. Merry Christmas, everybody.
I mean, at least she went with consent, right? Like, she willingly went. No, I guess so. No. She was pushed into going. No. Let's take that back.
Okay.
Remember? Because, like, they were like, you could stay here where the food is bad, which is why on cue the tray of food comes out. Or you could go with Jake.
Did they give her an option? I don't remember that.
They did.
Okay.
Yeah, they did.
Dear Lord.
Small town things, what do I tell you?
Listen.
But yeah, essentially, going back to the storyline, so Yeah, the dad comes back. They find Tad. They find Ralph. Oh, by the way, Ralph was going to get arrested for like soliciting and like poaching and things like that. But Tad gets him out of that.
Yeah, because apparently he's poached before. So
Yeah.
it's like, is he really? I mean, he is Tad's savior, but.
Yeah. That helps him though, because he doesn't get arrested.
But it was also interesting where the chief's like, it's Christmas, just let him go. Like,
Yeah.
poaching is illegal. At least.
Yeah. Which shows you how much power they really have. But that's a conversation for another day.
Oh my god.
All from a lighthearted Netflix movie.
We have to take something so lighthearted and make it so dark.
I know. Okay, yeah.
But
you okay?
I'm fine.
You're like dying over there.
It's just, oh god, maybe this is why I don't watch a lot of lighthearted movies now that I think about it. But anyway, yes,
There's always something wrong with them.
Exactly. I could get out of reality, but not that much. I'm not that in my delusion. Anyway,
yeah,
Chief overhears them and he's like, I know where your daughter is. And then we cut to where they're having the fundraiser to raise money because Jake finally gets over himself.
Agrees. Yeah.
And he's like, I guess we should, try to save this place. Because I'm not sure if he was like that because he started thinking about his wife or...
Well, it kind of hints at like he wants to move on, but at the same time can't.
He doesn't.
Yeah. He does want to move on, but...
Probably because of the wife, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, they have their fundraiser, which is very cute. So they bring back, like, they invite all of the guests from the past past 20 to 30 years. A lot of them come, and they are more than willing to help out because, like, he did, like, a lot for them whenever someone would come, like, give them the biggest suite because it's their honeymoon or something. Like he'll always be doing like small acts of kindness, and that kind of like added up over time, which worked out in his favor for this fundraiser. But in the middle of his thank you speech, Sierra's dad, Tad, and the police officer, I believe, they come. Tad, obviously, the grand entrance that he made.
That's why I said this police officer, I'm questioning things, because as soon as they come in, when Tad runs up to her and he's like, Sierra, he's like, yep, there goes your daughter. Merry Christmas. And then he just leaves. So I'm just, woo.
Yeah. He's over it. He wants to be with his family. Is what it is.
He just wants to go home. He's like, it's Christmas Eve. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Mystery solved.
So they find her and she was like, Sierra. She's like, so like she recognizes her name eventually. And then like all of her memories start triggering back. And like she's able to like figure out who Tad is, who her dad is. And all her memories come back.
I think when he put the ring on her finger, because when she was like, it's too big. And that's when she remembered like, oh, I said that.
Yeah. Which actually I wanted to point out, like, even though she had like amnesia and everything, she still remembered like comments she made or comments people made to her, which I thought was very, very interesting. So,
because like, at the very beginning, I know we're jumping around a little, like when they were having breakfast and then she said the comment, oh, I don't like bacon, or I don't do bacon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which should show you what type of person she is. And then they're like, well, how do you know that? She's like, I guess I don't. So I don't know if that was like the rich coming out where like she'll do things because that's the type of class she's used to growing up. And then she realized, oh, this actually is good.
Yeah.
But then there's also points throughout the movie she was remembering stuff like not who she was, but like the snow globe incidents because she also lost her mother. So she, I guess, remembered when her mom gave her a snow globe when she was a kid. And she gave this whole, like, she remembered this whole speech that her mom gave her, and she told it to Ava. I don't remember what the speech was, though. Something about curls and twists, I think.
Oh, how a knot with a little help will undo itself or take care of itself, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. I actually, I have it. I didn't pay attention to that. Good point.
Yeah. So that's why I was questioning, like, how amnesia actually really works in real life. So.
Yeah. Where were we?
They find her. I had to think.
Okay, wait, where were
they find her, and they take her back. And then at
they
first,
find her.
Ava's so sad. The little girl, she's like, "Oh, Sarah, don't go. don't leave me. You're supposed to be here for Christmas with us. I'm not making fun of her, I promise. And they're like, I found my home, sweetie. It's time for me to go. Like Vanessa Hudgens said in High School Musical 2, I have to go my own way.
Yeah. That part was kind of it was very cheesy for me. I'm like, okay. I guess that's the conflict we need.
Listen, there are some points where I was sitting here and I'm like, I know for a fact the director kept telling the little girl to smile in a certain way so that one missing, like, her tooth will show to bring out the cuteness. I just know it. I have a feeling.
You have a feeling.
The director's like, oh, honey, make sure you smile, but let's see the gap. Let's show off your cuteness.
3, 2, 1, go.
That little girl can definitely be in more Hallmark-type Christmas movies. Yeah. I can see it.
Mm-hmm. She did really well.
She did. But yeah. So she goes back, and then they're sad because Jake was starting to like her.
Mm-hmm.
They don't say a timeline. That's another thing with me in movies, because there's never timelines. How long was she actually there? Where did she get lost, and how long will she actually stay with them?
So when she made her comment about no one coming to look for her and things like that, that was like 2 days in.
Oh, wait, we did say she was missing for 4 days. Duh.
Yeah. Wow, all of that all this happened over a week? Like they just figured their lives out over a week?
I guess so. I wish I was like that.
Yeah. Anyway, so she goes back. They, I think, have like a press conference for her returning, and like that's when they announce their engagement and everything. But Sierra, you can tell like she's a changed person because like she's making her own bed, cooking her own food, things like that.
The glam squad was so confused when she was making her own bed, and they're like, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, I'm just helping the housekeepers out a little. And they're like, hey. And they're like, oh, we picked something out, and it came straight from Mulan this morning. She's like, I think I'm going to go with something simple. They're like, something simple? Like,
that's not you.
But, like, the thing I also appreciate in this movie, just going over that, even though she's, like, a rich girl, she's not mean. Neither is her father. They're not, like, arrogant,
they're
like,
not mean
assholes.
people.
Yeah, they're actually decent people. Like, even though her glam squad, like, especially in the beginning of the movie, was, like, doing everything for her, feeding her, giving her stuff, she was never, I feel like, too dismissive or, like, very rude to them, which I also appreciated.
Yeah. That's even, a good point. Yeah,
even, like, when Jake was trying to get her father and to invest into his lodge, he was never mean to Jake. He took the time out to ski with him to listen to his business proposal, you know, turned him down nicely, actually. Very hospitable, which I appreciate.
Which is, hey, he is in that industry, so.
Yes, and people in that industry can be assholes. I should know, so that's why I said what I said. Especially at the position he is in. So.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
They come from money, but they are not mean.
They're not mean, yeah. I agree. Yes. But yeah, where were we?
And I don't remember, what was the press conference for? Because they found her, even though they didn't announce she was missing. So how did they know she was missing?
That's a good point.
Because when they found out she was missing was the same day that they found her.
You know, I was actually thinking that. I'm like, wait, but they never announced it. Maybe they did. Maybe they did when the father came back, or like they somehow just got whiff of it. Because it wasn't official that she was missing until the father came back.
But they still found her that day, and I don't think Tad posted on his social media that she was missing.
No, his phone died mid-video.
Exactly. So how did they know she was missing?
They found her the same... No, they didn't find her the same day.
I could have sworn it was the same day. When Tad went to the police station was when they were... And when the dad was like, where's Sierra?
Oh, you're right.
She with you? And that was Christmas Eve when they were having the party.
That's I think that's the biggest plot hole so far.
Unless it was to announce she was taking a part in the business in the hotel, but the reporters asked them during the press conference, oh, Sierra, you were found. So they knew she was missing. But how did they know she was missing? Y'all can't watch movies with me. I need to.
Who knows? No, you make very valid points.
I'm just saying.
That's true. I knew the whole press conference thing was off, but like, whatever. Sometimes I just try not to think about it. I'm like, okay, it is what it is.
I know. And then I felt bad when like Tad announced the whole world that they were engaged, because like even before she fell and went missing, you could tell because I think he said something to, in the car when they were heading to the mountain on the radio. Yes, the singing, when she started singing Jingle Bell Rocks, which made me think of Mean Girls. And then he was like, oh, you're a little off key there, honey. You're too pitchy. And I'm like, well, dang. And then she's like, it's the holidays. It doesn't matter if I can sing or not. Spirit? And then he changed the channel on her. I was like, oh, well, F you too then.
He didn't even think anything of it.
She was literally in the middle of singing and he just switched stations. And there was other stuff too where it's like, how did y'all get together? But then again,
there were signs. There were signs
where she wasn't feeling it. So the whole engagement, honestly, too, was for his social media.
Yeah. Yeah, everything about that kid was for social media. Really.
And you know what? There's a lot of people like him too, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
That's why there's always
especially since now being an influencer is an actual job.
Yeah.
So
that's why there's always that debate if influencers are killing celebrity culture and like the way we view celebrities. But that also could just be the internet in general and just how exposed we all are to each other now. There's no like mystery, really. There could be. It depends how much you post.
No, I will say though, the whole celebrity culture does not have the same allure as it did like 30 years ago, 20 years ago.
Oh no, for sure. I feel like that started changing in like the early 2010s. Maybe like 2014, 15 is when I really saw the shift in that. But anyway, back to the movie. So yeah, and then when she comes back, you can tell she's all changed, especially when she's making breakfast and stuff.
Yep.
Now Tad is one where I'm like, he's not me, but you could tell he's like
he bounces right back.
Yeah, exactly. Because when he found her in the kitchen making her own breakfast, he's like, honey, what are you doing? Like, he didn't say it, but he kind of allured to like, there are people around here that can do this for you. Why are you doing it yourself? So
yeah. I feel like with a few more humble experiences, he'll get there.
Maybe. You know? I guess being lost in the woods didn't humble him enough.
There's hope for him.
Again, he's not a mean person, but you could tell he's just a little selfish.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, they have their whole, press conference. And then she talks to her dad, tells him that she doesn't want to.
Because they didn't really let her talk herself during that whole press conference. They were kind of talking for her and over her, which I guess also helps her growth. I guess that's where like Jake and his family kind of helped her kind of become not even just really independent. Even though we say like they manipulated her into doing stuff, I feel like not only it helped her like be more like do stuff for herself, but also stand up for herself, you know?
Yeah.
So, because I think that's where she got the confidence to tell like her dad that she didn't want the job that he just made up for her. And then
for it, yeah.
I can't remember. I wish I remembered the name because it was literally a non-existent position.
VP of Atmosphere.
Was it VP of Atmosphere? What would she even be doing?
Yeah. Making sure the environment was presentable.
Anyway, she had more business control and ideas and like drive when she was helping Jake with his ski lodge.
Yeah, that is true. But yes, I'm glad she was able to tell the dad though. And it wasn't even a scary conversation. He was like, okay.
Yeah. He's like, and like what we were saying, like he just wanted to try to help her function in society and be able to do things on her own. So
do things for herself, yeah.
Yeah, to get out of her little rich bubble and become more independent. So, and then after that, she finally breaks up with Tad, which he definitely wasn't hurt by it. She literally even said, oh, Tad, you're going to be over this by New Year's.
Yeah.
Which is like in a week or two.
Yeah. So which he was. No, actually, he was over it the second she walked away.
Because he looked at her assistant and he's like, so what are you doing the rest of the day? It's like,
which I was like, what? Wait until she's out of the frame. Like, hello.
Well, he did. She was walking away. She was out of frame.
Building, I should say. Out of the building.
I guess. I forgot what the assistant's name was, but he's like, okay.
Oh, me?
That's fine with me, right? I haven't been standing in the right place, right time.
He has. Oh, and then like at the same time, the lodge was getting a lot of reservations because she kind of advertised it during the, what's it called?
Press conference.
Press conference, saying that like they're great, they helped her and everything like that. So they finally were sold out, so that solved their business problem. Which was this, by the way, was this all on Christmas Day or was this before? This was all Christmas Day, right?
This was Christmas Day because when the press conference happened, they were opening gifts, like Jake and his family.
Right.
Yeah. And then again, I know she's an heiress to, like, her father's very successful in like hotels, but like for the fact for her to say that and then all of a sudden they start getting calls, that's why I'm like, what does she do?
Yeah.
Is she also an influencer? Is it just by name association? I guess name association. I don't know.
It's probably what it is, name association, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they solved that whole lodge problem, and then that gives Jake and his family time.
I felt so bad for Abuela also because their equipment's so old. So like when she kept answering the phone, she had to put them on hold and she started crying. I was like, girl, no, pick up these phones. They're like ringing off the hook.
Finally.
Cry later. You're doing everything by hand. Cry tears of joy later. You need to get these reservations.
No, I think she did. She got all the calls.
Yeah. It was just her.
So yeah, and then Ava convinces Jake to go and talk to Sierra. And so he eventually like makes his way back to the hotel.
Which thanks to happy creepy Santa guy again, because their sled was broken and all of a sudden a new sled that they can race to the hotel just magically appeared.
Yeah. Yeah, when I saw that scene, I'm like, okay.
I knew he was supposed to be Santa, but...
No, like you can tell they're trying to wrap this movie up, so they're like, here's your sleigh. Which was fine, I guess, because the sleigh actually worked. He got there. How did he get there, Simone? There's only so much snow that he can go through. Once you get to the city, how are you going to drive that in the city?
Wasn't he being pulled by a reindeer?
In the city?
Yes. When they pulled up to the hotel, a reindeer was pulling him the whole time.
I don't remember this. I just...
Yeah.
See, my brain didn't even process that. I was like, they're just trying to end this.
No, girl. They did. The sled wasn't electronic. It was pulled by a reindeer.
Okay, so a reindeer did pull it all the way through the city. I don't know how they managed that, but okay.
Again, we're not going to think logically about it.
Yeah. And so they talk, they have their moment, and then what happens? And then, yeah, they kiss, and then Ava and her dad come in and end scene.
Yeah, say like, oh...
They what?
I said they confess, basically, like, you've told me...
Oh, yes.
I've helped you. You showed me a lot. I didn't think I'd be able to fall in love again, or not. See, that's another thing I like. They didn't really initiate like love, but they did show interest of just like and talking stage, which I appreciate. It wasn't like, oh, let's also get married. It's just like a 1930s Disney princess movie. They're like, okay, we're still figuring each other out, and I would like to figure each other out a little bit more if you're willing to. Consensual, getting together, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
All appropriate in my eyes, so.
And that was the last scene. So overall, it was pretty good. Was not as cheesy as I expected it to be, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Did you stay and watch the bloopers at the end? The bloopers were pretty cute.
I did.
Okay.
I did. They were cute. Yeah. They were cute. But I'm just like, I couldn't place his face for the most part, because every time he came into frame, Jake, I'm like, I've seen him before. But then I researched it. I'm like, oh, he's from Glee. Makes sense.
When movies would put bloopers at the end. I need to bring that
back. Yeah. But I liked how they didn't make it like too modern. Like the whole storytelling style, the whole vibe was it's like early 2000s style movies.
Yeah, it was still like modern, but like nostalgic at the same time. But I didn't feel like they leaned too much into either way. So
yeah, I really liked that. So it was pretty good. Now I want to go on a Christmas movie marathon because that was awesome.
We'll see. I actually started watching other stuff, non-Christmas movie.
Yeah, I want to watch holiday movies now. I'm like, okay.
We'll see. Maybe I will.
It was sweet. It was lighthearted. It was a feel-good movie. Yeah. It was not as deep as we made it, so...
No, it wasn't. We should have, but hey, that's just us as people. I definitely liked it. I saved it to my list on Netflix, so that's one thing.
Yeah. I also wanted to mention, like we talked about this before, but I really liked how they kept it and how like
Mm-hmm.
they actually showed that the male lead and the female lead had like good character because they didn't do anything until she like got her memory back. Like he never
Exactly.
other than having her clean, he didn't really ever take advantage of her.
Because
So,
there was that one scene when they were going to kiss under the mistletoe during the fundraiser, and then they stopped each other, and he's like, I don't even know if you have a significant other because you don't remember yourself. I'm like, you know what? That was very mature. Good for you. Okay. I
yeah,
hate how we have to praise like bare minimum work, but in this day and age,
I know.
appreciate it. Okay.
Yeah. And then she was like, "Yeah, you right."
Because I know he was shocked when Tad came in.
Oh yeah, he I feel like in the back of his mind though, he kind of knew,
But
you
and then
know?
I thought, I'm like, well, you guys bumped into each other. How did you not recognize each other? But I forgot she was wearing sunglasses, so it's
Yeah.
not like he could really see her face. So
Mhm.
was she wearing sunglasses?
That's
Now that I
true.
think about it, no, she was.
No,
I
she
think she.
was. She was,
Okay.
yeah. She was on her way out. But the other thing I really appreciated though was like the fact that they made the family like a mixed family and not like a typical white family like they do for Christmas movies. I loved that because like most of the kids nowadays are mixed. So it was like something that they could relate to.
Yeah. Again, having to keep
Hmm.
up with the modern times. So
Yeah. I thought about this later though, but I kind of feel like the movie is a bit symbolic to her life because like they talk about like her having like a fresh start and then like this movie is kind of like a fresh start, quote unquote, for her. So thought it was interesting in that way too because she gets like a new perspective and everything. So I liked the symbology there. I'm not
that
sure
makes
if it was
sense.
intentional, but yeah.
It could have been or could not have been, but I see where you're talking about, and that makes sense, and I agree with that as well. So
Yeah. But yeah, the plot holes I guess were the best part. They just make these standard movies so much more interesting.
it's just the best part for us because we just
Tore it apart.
talk about them.
Yeah.
Hey, we weren't too critical, but we still have to be critical.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, great movie. What would you rate it?
I will give it a 7 out of 10.
Oh,
I'm
I
just
was
being
gonna say
generous.
an 8.5 ish, an 8,
Oh,
8.5.
oh, you rated it a lot higher than I thought you were going to.
But see, I actually enjoy these kind of movies, so
And see, I didn't know if you're like me or you actually enjoyed them. So
I do.
again, I enjoy them to a certain extent. I promise I am
Hmm.
not bah humbug. I am not the Grinch. It's just sometimes I don't know if I'm too logical for cheesy movies sometimes or but it did warm my heart. So maybe I do need to start watching more like Christmas movies or just feel good movies. They don't have to be Christmas movies, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I would give it like an 8, 8.5. It was cute, it was short. They didn't drag any part out, and it was sweet. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
it went right along. So I guess we're
Hmm.
pretty much done because we gave our ratings. Anything else you wanted to say? I'm happy for Lindsay
No?
Lohan. I hope this continues to bring back her career.
Yes, I'm so happy for her. I hope this like
Because I think she's cleaned up a little bit. I think she's calmed
is just the
down.
start of a new beginning.
Yeah. And hopefully this is a more redemption for others kind of like her. I mean, we can kind of already see it. And again, we don't know these
Yeah.
people personally, so
Yeah.
but
But
still.
like I said, the only caveat that I have is like I really wish they did her makeup well.
Yeah, you thought her makeup was that bad?
No, like there were points where you could see her dark circles and everything, which I understand the natural if you're going for the natural look, but like they could have done better. I
But
don't know.
that's also interesting because she's supposed to be an heiress. And honestly, I'm sorry, I don't know many heiresses like that, especially if they found her with a makeup bag to go for the natural look. You would think to match her character, they would have put more makeup on her.
Yeah. But yeah, that's like my only grievance, I guess you could say.
Which is
But yeah,
fine, but maybe they did that to give her off, like, even though she's rich, she still, like, has that sweet vibe on her or something.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but
a
I
humble
mean, you
vibe.
you can wear a face full of makeup and still be humble, people. Let's not associate being makeup with being prissy and mean. Get
True.
over that.
Yeah,
You can still have your face beat and be the sweetest person on this earth.
that is true.
Let's get rid of that stereotype.
One step at a time, Simone. One step at a time.
Girl, they're taking like ant steps at this point. Okay?
But hey, that's a conversation for another day. We
It
say that
really
a lot on this
is.
podcast.
because we try not to think of the state of the world.
Yeah, but that other day just never comes too, so.
Okay, let's end it on a good, high-spirited note and not get into our spiraling. So I hope you guys enjoyed the movie. I hope you enjoyed our review. Let us know what you would rate this movie. And yeah, all that good stuff. I guess I'm already starting the closing with this. Okay, we hope you have a Merry Christmas, because I'm pretty sure this is going to come out either on Christmas or
And a
around
happy
Christmas. Yes,
holidays for those of you that don't
and a
celebrate.
happy holidays
Yeah.
if you don't celebrate. And even if you don't celebrate any holiday, just have a good day. I'm going to end it by saying times are tough. We all need a little joy in our life all the time, not just around the holidays, but all the time. Okay? Find your joy when you can.
Yes.
Oh, and hopefully we bring you that joy.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Because that's why we still do this.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening to us. I also, well, I don't know if this is going to be our last episode of the year. Maybe me and Macy might do a K-pop game before that. But just in case this is the last episode of the year, we will see you in the next year. With more to come, so you can follow us.
2023. Woohoo!
Oh God, 2023. Where has the time gone?
Yeah.
Yes, but we will see you in 2023. You can follow us on our socials, Instagram, and I Was Thinking Pod. And if Twitter is still alive, none of us still really know what's going on with Twitter, but it's at the same handle, I Was Thinking Pod. If Elon Musk hasn't already burned it to the ground at this point. Maybe I will make more socials in 2023. I've been low-key wondering if we should make a Facebook or a TikTok. We will see.
We'll talk about that. Yeah,
we will. But for now, you can only follow us on Instagram and Twitter. You can also email us with any comments, questions, concerns. Keep them nice, keep them cute at iwasthinkingpod@gmail.com. We would also really appreciate if you guys rate us, any type of ratings on whatever platform you're using to listen to us. I know on Apple Podcasts, you can rate us stars. So 5 stars would be great. And even a comment just to let people know you're enjoying us. So also we know that you're listening to us. I see it. I know you guys are listening. But it would be great to know. Just send us in something. Don't be shy. Okay? This is coming from an introvert herself. Don't be shy. We really appreciate it. And yeah. So we'll see you next time. I'm sorry this outro was so long. I'm just trying to delay so I don't have to go to work at this point. But I do. Because I have to live. But happy times. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. We will see you next time. I have been your host, Simone. And that's been The Feast. And thanks for listening to I Was Thinking. Okay, bye. I'm so awkward.